So I get one question all the time from people who are thinking about retirement, and that is, can I actually retire? So in this video, I'm going to break down exactly what does it mean to be on track? How do you actually measure that? And what are the steps that you need to take to withdraw money from your retirement accounts and actually execute your retirement? So make sure you stay tuned because I've got 5 simple steps to help you create your ideal retirement. So welcome back to the channel. I'm Jonathan Rankin with Think Retirement. And before we jump into everything, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of our retirement videos that we put out. And do me a favor, if you've got any tips that might be helpful to someone else, drop them in the comments below. I'd love to hear what your thoughts are on how you can create the perfect retirement. All right, so let's go ahead and start with step number 1, and that is, where are you today? You've got to figure out where you are today. Don't think about the future just yet. Take a quick second and freeze and don't do anything. Let's just think about what's your current state. And so let's break that down. So we're going to just talk about a gentleman here, Steve and Cheryl. They're married, but Steve currently, he's 61 years old. And Steve, he makes currently $150,000 a year. So the goal is to think about everything about where you're at today. So we're going to start with how old you are, what your salary is. We're going to start talking about what your savings are. So in this case, Steve saves 10% automatic to his 401k every single year. So that's going in no matter what. So he's got his 401k that he's contributing to. He's not really doing anything else from an investment standpoint on an automated basis. So we want to figure out what's automated. So now that we know how much he's saving every single month, then we need to think about, okay, what are those expenses? And you don't have to go through an intricate budget because guess what? Nobody likes budgeting, but you have to have an idea of what you're spending. So the way I always think about it is what's left at the end of every single month? How much money do you have left? So in their case, so they make $150,000. They contribute 10% to their 401k. And from there, they have $9,000 that's left or that comes to their bank account every single month. At the end of every month, they have $2,000 that's left over. So really they're spending $7,000 per month on just living expenses. And this is where I always encourage people to not get too far ahead of themselves. A lot of people will look at their budget and they'll start making justifications for expenses that, oh, that's not going to be there in retirement, or, you know, we're not going to need to get a new roof or a new AC unit or a new car next year. But guess what? Every single year, something's going to pop up. So I like to go with the real numbers. And in this case, $7,000 a month is what they actually spend. So if their take home right now is $108,000, but they're saving $2,000 a month, so they're truly spending $84,000 per year. So that's what we're going to plan on, those 2 numbers, just to see what's possible. And then from there, we're going to look at what are they doing from an investment standpoint today. So they have their 401k, and currently in the 401k, they've got $1.2 million in their 401k. They've got a $35,000 emergency fund. And so in their brokerage investment account, they've got $190,000. So we're just going to put investment account. And then we've got to look at what other incomes will they have coming in. So Steve's got a pension, and at 65 years old, that pension is going to be $3,000 a month. So he's going to get $3,000 per month at 65. So their Social Security at full retirement age at 67 is estimated to be $3,100. And Cheryl, she stayed home, raised the kids, and managed the family. So she's going to be getting a spousal benefit off of Steve's benefit. So that's where they are today. And I always like to say, don't worry about any of these general rules of thumb. If you're truly thinking about retirement soon, now it's time to get very personal. So everything from the 80% income replacement ratio to the 4% rule to, you know, how you should be invested in retirement or leading up to retirement. At this point, everything's going to be personalized to you. And so that's the whole goal, is when you start actually thinking about a true retirement picture, you want to start ignoring all of that noise and start focusing on your individual plan. And that's what we're doing here with Steve and Cheryl today. So now that we have an idea of where Steve and Cheryl are today, we're going to move on to step number 2. And that is thinking about what your ideal retirement is. What's your vision of a perfect retirement? And don't overthink this. I want you to think about what is the first thing that comes to mind when you think about retirement. So imagine you're on the Family Feud, Steve Harvey standing there in one of his fancy suits, and you've got to hit the buzzer as fast as possible when he says, what is your dream retirement date? And you got to buzz in as fast as possible. That's the number that you want to think about. So that's the age in which you want to think about. So if the age for Steve and Cheryl, they said it's 62. They'd like to retire starting in January of this year. So that's a month and a half away. So is that even possible? That's what we want to go through. We want to see what's possible, because guess what? We can always work backwards. We can always go back and we can modify the lifestyle. But what I've found in doing this for going on 20 years now is that so many people retire later than they need to because they always think that their ideal or perfect retirement is unattainable. So I always like to start there and see, is that possible? What is it going to take for them to retire starting in January? And from there, is that feasible to match their lifestyle? They're going to be able to know and tell, okay, yeah, we can live off that income, or no, we can't. So that's what we're going to go through. So let's go ahead and go into step number 3, which is digging into the plan. And that's where we're going to assess whether or not they're on track to retiring at the end of this year. And if it's not, what is possible for them? So let's go ahead and dig into the plan. All right, so let's go ahead and dive into Steve and Cheryl's plan. And let's see if retiring at the end of this year is going to be possible for them to maintain their current lifestyle. When we look at their current plan at retiring in January, they have a 98% probability of success. So what that means is that when we go through what's called Monte Carlo simulation and we look at thousands of different market cycles through up markets and down markets, 98% of those trials, they are successful in living off that $108,000 of after-tax income that adjusts for inflation. And at the end of that, when they're 90 years old, they're going to have about $2.9 million left. Now that's great. That shows us that retirement is okay if they go ahead and Steve quits at the end of this year and they live off of what they've been making currently. Now granted, as we've seen before, they weren't spending 100% of what they were making. So there is that buffer there, but I always like to look at what does it look like if you just were to repeat the paycheck that you were getting right now? And so that's just one part of it. So now that we know that Steve can retire at the end of this year, let's look at step number 4, which I believe is the most important step when planning retirement, and that is stress testing your retirement plan. We need to see what is it going to take to essentially run out of money? What are the pitfalls that we need to watch out for? What are the risks to your long-term financial health? Those are all the things that stress testing is going to help us with. So in this scenario, one of the things that we're going to look at is what happens if the market falls by 25% next year. We're going to look at what happens if Steve and Cheryl need additional money for healthcare down the road when they're 80 years old. And then what happens if one member of the household needs long-term care when they're 85. So let's look through those different things and see if they're still successful, if Steve's still okay to retire at the end of this year. So when we go through, the first thing we're going to look at is what happens if the market falls by 25% next year. This is a risk we've always talked about in this channel called sequence of return risk. Having a bear market in one of the first few years of retirement while you're starting to take out money can usually cause a big risk later on when talking about long-term financial success. So when we see a market drop by 25% next year, they go from a 98% probability of success down to a 76% probability of success. Now we typically like to target an 80%. So they're a little bit under that. It gives us a little bit of caution, but it doesn't say that retirement's not going to be successful. What this shows us is that if they're at 76%, for them to get to that 80% probability of success, maybe that $108,000 isn't likely to continue spending if they want to stay at that 80%, but they can spend $106,000 of after-tax income. This is still well above the $84,000 that they're actually spending currently while Steve's working. So 106 still puts them at that 80% probability of success, which means that even if the market were to fall, they should still be okay. Now, let's assume the market didn't fall, but down the road when they're 80 years old, they need an additional $15,000 per year to pay for healthcare costs. We know that healthcare costs continue to rise, especially for those in retirement and especially in the later years of retirement. So we want to factor that in. So what if they need an additional $15,000 per year for healthcare related costs? As you can see, they go from a 98% probability of success down to a 96. So they're still likely to retire, live off that $108,000 of after-tax income, and even if they needed more money down the road to pay for healthcare related expenses, they're still okay. But now we need to get into what happens if one of them needs long-term care. I mean, think about it. If you're 80 years old, you're needing to spend more on healthcare related costs, the possibility of having long-term care need is there. So if that's the case, the cost for a semi-private room nowadays, we're going to look at a average cost of $80,000 per year for those 5 years. That's going to take us from a 96% probability of success down to an 82. And because this is a cost that is decades away, it's not something that they can foresee today unless we were going through a plan like this. So even if they needed additional healthcare coverage, they needed to have long-term care in 85 to 90 years old, They're still okay to live off that income today. But what happens if the market were to drop and all those other scenarios still were present down the road? Now they go from an 82% probability of success down to a 28% probability of success. This is where stress testing matters, because let's say we're in 2025, the market's down by 25%, and now we know that, hey, there's a risk that if either one of you is going to need long-term care down the road, then this can cause a big issue with your long-term financial health. So if that's the case, then maybe we do want to start looking into some sort of long-term care insurance and protect against this risk. This is how we start modeling what's going to take place down the road and how do we make adjustments today. Because if they wanted to have all those different scenarios, the market falls, they need a lot more for healthcare, and then they need long-term care, what they can realistically spend today is $91,000 in after-tax savings, which is more than the $84,000 they're truly spending, but it's less than the $108,000 that we've budgeted them to spend in this plan. So the problem is that the long-term care isn't for decades. So it's unlikely that anybody's going to modify their lifestyle today when there's an unforeseen, unknown cost down the road that may or may not happen. That's why we don't want to adjust the lifestyle today, but maybe it's something that we start insuring against and protect against. That's what stress testing will do. That's why it's so important to make sure that you're stress testing your plan. And if you've never done that or need help doing it, do us a favor, use the link in the description below. We'd be happy to help you do that. One of our teammates will be happy to walk through your individual retirement plan and see whether or not there's risks that we need to protect against down the road. And that leads us to the fifth and final step in securing your ideal retirement, and that is actually retiring. Hitting the button, putting in the 2-week notice, and actually stepping away and retiring. So how do you do that? This sounds easy in theory, but there are a lot of questions that I see a lot of people concerned and confused on how to actually retire. So the first step after putting in your 2-week notice is that you want to make sure you have all of your income streams turned on. So in this case, Steve's got a pension. He's not taking that pension for a few years. He's got Social Security. He's not taking it for a few years. So there's nothing for him to technically turn on, but we want to make sure he's got those steps identified. Talk to his employer, make sure he understands exactly how to start his pension when he wants to. Make sure he understands how to actually start Social Security when he wants to start taking that. Those are things that we want to make sure he's got in place. So that way, when it comes time, when he turns 65, he's not fumbling around, searching through papers, trying to figure out, okay, where were those instructions to actually start my pension? We don't want to make it confusing. We want to make it easy. Now, the next thing you need to do is you want to establish the link between wherever your checking account is, your operating account that you're spending money out of, and your investment accounts. So whether that's brokerage accounts you have, 401ks, IRAs, whatever accounts you're going to be taking distributions from, make sure those are connected. Establish that link so you can have an ease of transferability between different accounts so you can get money into your checking account where you're going to be spending money. Now, the third step, this is one of the most important steps that I've seen people actually forget. And it's one that you do not want to miss. And that is, make sure that you update your tax withholding on any retirement accounts you're taking distributions from. So if you've got a 401k, a traditional IRA, if you're taking distributions from those, make sure you update your tax withholding, because the last thing you want in retirement at all is a financial surprise. And the last thing you want to do is get a 1099 in January from your 401k or your IRA, and then you realize when you go to pay your taxes that you weren't withholding anything, and now you have this massive tax bill. So make sure that you update that tax withholding when you're taking distributions from any retirement account. Now, the next step in actually retiring is determining what your withdrawal schedule is going to be. Are you going to take money out quarterly? Do you want it monthly, just to mimic a actual paycheck? Get that set up. Things are a little bit easier when you're dealing with an IRA than a 401k, because when you're dealing with a plan administrator, there could be more steps involved. So figure out what you want that distribution schedule to be and make sure that's set up before you go into retirement. For our clients, we like to have those things automated. We don't want them to have to worry about or think about or make that decision every single month. Do we want to take this distribution or not? And that's why I always say to automate it, because if the market falls, let's say the market goes down by 15, or in this case that we modeled, 25% next year. As you see that balance continue to go down and you have to make that conscious decision, okay, we are scheduled to take out, let's call it $9,000 this month, but the market's gone down Now you're starting to overthink that expenditure or that distribution. So you end up not taking it or you reduce it. It just causes more stress and leads to a less confident retirement. All right, so now that you've got the income streams turned on, you've got your distribution scheduled, the last step in retiring is to now set a schedule and a routine around coming back to your retirement plan. This is something that people don't often think about. They think about retirement planning as, let me get to retiring and then I don't have to worry about it again. But the reality is, you want to come back to this plan at least on a quarterly basis. Some like to do it more often, some like to go into it monthly, at least quarterly, and worst case scenario, once a year, you want to come back to that because you want to see if you're still on track. Not on track for today, but on track for 5, 10, 15, 20 years from now. Just like in Steve and Cheryl's case, we want to see in a certain year what's going to cause them to run out of money in 20 years from now. The last conversation that I ever want to have with any client when they're 80 years old is, hey, do you think you can update your resume and how's your LinkedIn looking? Those are things that we don't want to have to do. And so the way that we avoid that is we constantly check in with the retirement plan. So let's recap real quick the 5 steps to creating your secure retirement. First step, assessing where you're at today. Don't overthink it. Just think about it as you're going to a doctor and they're running all those diagnostic tests. They're just trying to get what your weight is, what your height is today. So figure out, where are you at today? Where's your money? What kind of income? What are your expenses? What are you saving? That's what step 1. Step 2, that's where you want to dream of and think of what your ideal and perfect retirement is. Don't make justifications of different expenses. Don't overthink it. Just in your perfect world, you stop working when? That's what you want to think about. And step number 3, assess whether that's possible or not. You'll be able to adjust and see, okay, if that dream retirement is not feasible, well, maybe we pushed off a year or 2, or maybe we reduce how much we're spending. Maybe we have more time, we can increase what we're saving. There are steps that you can take, but start with your dream retirement and then go from there. Step number 4, that's where you, very importantly, stress test your retirement plan. See what it's going to take to run out of money. And then from there, make sure you're taking steps to avoid that as you proceed through retirement. And the last step is actually retiring. Make sure you're going through all the necessary steps. Make sure the beneficiaries are updated, your accounts are linked, your distributions are scheduled, your taxes are withheld, and actually clicking the button and then enjoying retirement. So I hope this was helpful. Do me a favor, hit that subscribe button. And if you've got any ideas or any tips that you might feel someone else can benefit from or would be helpful that you went through, share them in the comments. I'd love to see what other people are doing out there. So share them in the comments. And if you have any questions, use the link in the description below. A member of our team will be happy to help you with your individual retirement account. Until then, keep saving, and I will see you next time.